I agree that we should not settle for a candidate, but there were 9 of you guys up there, 2 more liberal, I believe, 2 libertarians, and that leaves, what, 5 that looks like you guys are all kind of in the same boat. So without divvying up those votes and settling for someone, how do we work that?
Well, I think that's where we're beginning to see that there are differences in the candidates. Because something else that we can't settle on is President Obama had cooked all these deals with political donors, with companies like Cedar. And we're finding out that there are candidates that are compromised when it comes to political donors. That political donors have given them money, and then a lot of political appointments and a lot of deals have been given back to those political donors.
Those lines?
Yes.
Those lines?
And our candidate can't be compromised when it comes to owing political favors to political donors. We can't have, our candidate has to be a sharp, bold distinction from Barack Obama. We have to be completely different on Obamacare, completely different on foreign policy, completely different on fiscal policy, completely different on social policy. Our candidate needs to be pro-life, pro-marriage, pro-family, but we also have to have a candidate that's not compromised when it comes to political donations or what they call crony capitalism. That's a big issue. And don't think for a moment that won't come up during the course of the campaign. And now the layers are starting to get peeled back. That's why don't fear this vetting process that the candidates are going through. This is good for all of us. Right. I had to go through it all summer here in Iowa. That's just a part of the process. Running for president is not for the faint of heart. This is a very tough, grueling process, and it should be. Because we're looking at giving the right to one person to be the president of the United States. And this is a charge and a responsibility that has to be kept. George Washington said in his farewell address, he called the presidency the executive trust. And that's why that person has to understand the Constitution and appreciate the Constitution, and the fact that you can't act outside the bounds of the Constitution. That's where the Tea Party comes in. That's been one thing that the Tea Party has reminded all of us, that the Constitution matters. It means something, and we have to have someone who gets it. You can't impose an individual mandate on the people, whether it's the entire nation or whether it's a state. It's unconstitutional to force people as a condition of citizenship to purchase health insurance, whether you want to or not. It's unconstitutional. That's why we can't trust that a person who's willing to do that will actually go through all the work it's going to take to get rid of Obamacare. We have to really think these things through, and that's why we have to look at these candidates. Yes?
But I feel like I'm pretty politically savvy as the average person. You know, I'll go to the caucus, but really, I'm sorry, I don't see a lot of difference in, like I said, those 5 of you. I could pick out the libertarians and all I'm saying is how can we get together? How can the 5 candidates, is there any way that the 5 candidates can get together and, you know, say that I don't know how far apart you are on stuff, but so that we don't have to settle for a Mitt Romney or, you know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if I vote for you, which I'm inclined to, and somebody else votes for Herman Cain, which they're inclined to, for whatever little, petty differences, then we're going to get the settle for candidate, which the less savvy people are going to go for, or the less, I don't know how savvy I am, but, you know, the broader spectrum people that are only listening to the news are going to vote for the,
the thing is,
party people.
And we won't be making that decision. It's the people that will make that decision.
Yeah,
and that's why the debates are good, to let these distinctions be known. And so the information is starting to come out now about the idea about the crony capitalism, deals that have been made to benefit political donors. That's starting to come out now, and also the issues with where people have stood. and on whether it's the crony capitalism or whether it's dealing with health care or all the various issues that come up where people have stood on the life issue, where they stood on the bailout, for instance, that's another one. Did you support the bailout? Did you not support the bailout, the stimulus? All of these factors are coming out now, and it takes time in the process. It really does. And that's why I think, again, my main message is I want to encourage the backbone of this party, the people who do all the work, to elect the candidates. Those are the people that are always told to stand next to the wall when it comes up to the time to choose our candidate. Because we're always told, oh no, it's got to be this moderate person. You know, we can't have a true conservative. I'm 55 years old. I've lived a very consistent life. I'm a constitutional conservative, and I'm putting forth my candidacy because I saw what was happening in Washington, and I knew that unless we had a rock-solid constitutional conservative that has fight in them, nothing's going to change. And of all elections, when we have to have a real change in Washington, it's this one. Because this election could be the last election that we elect a president that will be leading this nation when we are the leading economic producer of the world and the leading military superpower of the world. Any subsequent election after this one, we could find ourselves in also-ran status. And we could fall fairly precipitously. That's why this election is so important. It's so extremely important that our candidate is right on the issue. Because you see, the issue isn't whether Barack Obama lacked experience. The issue is that Barack Obama was wrong on the issues. He's been wrong on every issue that there is. That's why we need a candidate who's been consistently right on the issues, but also a champion for those issues, who's going to go out and fight and make it happen. And I'm committed as the nominee of the Republican Party. I'm not interested in just winning for myself to be president in the White House. What I need to do is also elect 13 more like-minded constitutional conservatives as senators, U.S. senators, so that when I go into the White House, we'll have 60 senators that will help me. You have to have a filibuster-proof majority and a conservative majority in the House. And then, in the first whatever days, we will repeal Obamacare. We will repeal Dodd-Frank. No one else in this race gets the tax code like I get the tax code as a former federal tax lawyer. I get it. I get what we have to do with the tax code to stimulate and start job creation. I want to take all of those skills and make it happen. That's why I'm running. I think that I've got the complete skill set to do this job. I think I'm uniquely qualified, uniquely situated, because I've been in D.C. for 5 years fighting these fights. I know where the traps are, and I know what has to be done to turn the country around. We just don't have a lot of time. It's not a forgiving time in our nation's history. We've got to have someone who really gets this, who can go in, but who has the will to do it, who's not compromised, who's not sold out to special interests. There's too many other people that are, and we just can't have that this time. We've got to have someone who's going to go in and do what has to be done. You're asking the exact right question. That's why I'm so glad you asked that question. It's the exact right question, and it's what the people who are going to make that decision, because like I said, we won't have Barack Obama. He won't be our next president next time. He won't. Because the American people, even on the left, they're talking about how they don't want Obama for their candidate. They're saying we got to get, somebody else to come out and run in his place. So he won't be the next president. That's why of all elections, this is so unique, because we can actually choose the very best candidate. One that in many years we'd be told, oh, that candidate will never have a chance of winning. I'm telling you, this year, the best candidate will have a chance of winning, because people want to know who can turn the country around and who's actually going to get rid of Obamacare and do these really tough things. It's hard things that have to be done. Really, changing the tax code, if that was easy, it would have been changed by now. I can do it. Getting rid of Obamacare, that's a really really hard thing. If it would have been easy, we would have done it by now. But that's what it's going to take. Someone who's up for doing these really hard things, who won't settle. I won't settle. And that's why I'm encouraging all of you. Don't settle this time. Don't let the media choose your candidate. You choose your candidate. That's what's important. They're telling